This is my new country western music magazine, which is called Westernised. It aims at 16 to 24-year-olds. 54% of them will be female and 23% of them are ABC ones. The subgenres, said by Dick Hebdige, 1979, that I aim at are country and western people and hippies. This is because of the subcultural capitals that attracts these subgenres. This is the front cover of my country music magazine. I pastiched the codes and conventions from current magazines such as Q and Country Music People. I decided to use Q as well as Country Music People because it has more codes and conventions on the front cover to look at, so I challenged the conventions of country music magazines by adding more visual elements. I pastiched my masthead in the style of Country Music People because I believe that it looks more striking and bold in the landscape position. I decided to call my country music magazine Westernised so that my target audience can easily tell what type of music magazine it is. I also made the font in wood on Photoshop to reinforce the country music style and to create the preferred reading of country music connotations. My main cover image consists of a female who is wearing a checkered shirt with a guitar to denote the stereotypical of country music. This also represents a subculture that my magazine aims at, which is country and hippies. I also wanted to create a preferred reading, said by Stuart Hall, 1980, of an innocent country girl because I wanted my target audience to look up to her as an ideal self, said by Carl Rogers, 1980. Because she is playing an instrument and this will make people aspire to be like her. The pose that I used was a medium close-up because the country music magazine that I looked at, Country Music People, had a medium close-up of their model on their front cover. I also made her look natural by smiling so that she looks likeable to the audience. On my main cover image, I edited the colour balance so that it was more of a warmer colour. I think that this makes the image look more inviting and adds to the preferred reading, said by Stuart Hall, 1980, of an innocent country girl. The image that I used was a medium close-up in a level shot angle. I pastiched this also from Q magazine, and I think it works well because she's given direct gaze, which makes it more interactive to the audience. Anchored, Roland Barthes, 1979, to my main cover image was my main cover line. The main cover line that I made was really big and bold so that it could stand out from the page and so that it could catch the audience's eyes easily. Also, the country magazine that I looked at, Country Music People, didn't have a cover line in it, so I challenged that convention and added one myself. My main cover line also used a font that was curly and quite girly to connote the preferred reading of an innocent country girl. The plug that I had on my front cover was really stereotypical of the country genre because I made it in the shape of a sheriff badge. This again challenged the codes of conventions of country music magazines that I looked at because the country magazine that I looked at was really plain, so I pastiched some of the codes and conventions from Q magazine. Inside my plug, I had another plug of the word win. I had banners at the top and bottom of the front cover of my magazine, which I pastiched from Kerrang magazine. I added these on it to add extra information on my front cover for my target audience and the subgenre, and I had it to advertise the subscription for my magazine. Kerrang magazine isn't really the same genre that my magazine is, but I like the codes and conventions that they used, and because my country music magazine didn't really have many codes and conventions, I pastiched it from them instead. I also had cell lines on my front cover so that my target audience would be able to see what the content would be inside my magazine. I pastiched this code and convention from Q magazine because my country music magazine didn't have any cover lines on it. I pastiched the font type from Q magazine so that my text would be sans serif. Here I changed this convention of normal country music magazines because the one that I looked at, Country Music People, didn't have many codes and conventions on it, but if it did, then it would have used serif fonts because they are the stereotypical font of the country genre. I changed the house style colours on my front cover to connote the country style and so that it would be easy to establish the brand of the magazine. My house style colours are yellow and orange to reflect the liveliness of country music, to reflect the boldness of the subgenres that my magazine aims at. Q magazine also used bold colours on their front covers, so I pastiche this code and convention from them, but country music people use subtle colours such as browns and blues, so I challenge this code and convention of a country music magazine. The barcode on my front cover told the reader the price of the magazine, the date and the website. This was here to inform the readers of some vital information about the magazine. It also told them the issue of the magazine. This is also a form of synergy because I am cross-promoting the website in my magazine. This is my contents page for my country music magazine. I pastiche the codes and conventions for my contents page from Q magazine and Country Music People. I made my contents page into a double page spread contents page so that it would be made more interesting with more images and so that it would have more contents because my magazine is only published monthly. I continued my house style colours, which are yellow and orange, onto my contents page so that it establishes the brand of the magazine at a quick glance. The images that I used on my contents page were relevant because they represent the age and gender that I am aiming at. The images also connote who will be featured inside the magazine and they have direct gaze so they interact with the audience. I did this by taking images of models that are similar age to my target audience of 16 to 24-year-olds and by having my models to have direct gaze with the camera so that it feels like they are looking at the reader. I represent my target audience of 54% females by having the models on my images females too. The fonts that I've used on my contents page are also similar to the fonts that I used on my front cover, except that I use a serif on my contents title to reinforce the country genre. For example, I use serif fonts for my titles because they are stereotypically seen to be country and they are easy to read. For my body text, I use sans serif because they are easy to read and most magazines use sans serif for their body text, so I pastiched this code and convention into my magazine. The mode of address that I used on my contents page was peer-to-peer, so that it is friendly to the reader and that they feel like they are talking to a friend. But my mode of address on my contents page is also teacher to pupil, because I am informing my readers about information that is included inside the magazine. This is my double page spread. I pastiched my double page spread layout from Q magazine and Country Music People. On my double page spread, I created a star persona said by Richard Dyer in 1985, because the model that is featured on it is an innocent country singer, but on this interview she's been competitive with other singers. This is shown by the headline, Jennifer First Taylor. The connotations of this headline are that my model is competitive and passionate about her job. This will make my target audience of 15 to 24-year-olds look up to her as an ideal self/ideal partner, said by Carl Rogers in 1980. The image that I used on my double page spread is stereotypical of country music because of the iconography and mise-en-scène objects and clothing such as country hats and checkered shirts to create the country atmosphere. I used a long shot on the actual image to show the length of my model and to reveal her to the audience. This is anchored, said by Roland Barthes in 1979, to the body text on my double page. I had a big bold pull quote over my image which was personal to my artist. It also reflected the music genre because it said Taylor Who, and Taylor is known to be a country music artist. The connotations of this quote show the competitive side of my model, and it also connotes a star persona said by Richard Dyer in 1975. My body text was in columns like all double page spreads, and I pastiched it from Country Music People and Q magazine. I also had a drop capital to signal the start of the interview, but I kept the colour of the drop capital the same as the question so that it doesn't stand out too much. I also changed the colour of the question so that it stood out more from the page. I had a lead paragraph at the start of my interview to introduce the audience to the interview, and I had my artist names in bold so that it catches the audience's eye. I also had my lead paragraph in a different colour so that it stood out from the page, but it blended in with the colour of the questions too much, so I changed it to black, and I think this works better because it makes it easier to read when you're just skimming through the magazine. For my page numbers, I use the same font as the one that I've been using for my titles throughout the magazine, and I also had the masthead next to my page numbers to reinforce the brand of the magazine and as a form of synergy. I also used synergy in the last paragraph of my double page spread by having the website of my magazine on it. This also signalled the end of the interview.